All right. Welcome in, everybody. Good morning. Good Saturday morning to you here. Phil Nagy on Sports, joining you here this morning in a little bit of a somber tone as we get this one going, but per your request, everybody wanted to see, of course, what the excitement on the field would have, could have, should have looked like, and just an incredibly tragic and unfortunate situation. And obviously we know now, a few days later, that not out of the woods yet, but in much better shape certainly than it looked like on Monday night as we all watched it unfold live. And as many have said, there's just no playbook for what this kind of a thing looks like. So we will try to enjoy the football side of it here while continuing to pray for the family of Damar Hamlin, and obviously him, and for the doctors and just all the people in Cincinnati who rose to the occasion. Found out that the guy who performed CPR on him is an Ohio State grad, which is cool too. So just a lot of cool connections, and the continued showing of the power of prayer, and people coming together for things that are more important than football at times. So welcome in, Wendell. Welcome in, Keith. Good morning to you guys. Let's get this one started. Kit's got a busy weekend. I'm not sure if he'll be able to pop on or not. Plus, it's also like 6:30 in the morning where he's at. So, Josh Allen and company, he's had another fantastic year again, even with a little bit of a bum chicken wing at times in that throwing shoulder, that AC joint. It's just a pain management thing. But you have to assume that it does affect him in some capacity. All right, well, here we go. First and 10. Bills will go right to left on your radio dial, as it were. Back to pass now. Allen against the four-man rush. They set up screen left side. It's going to be Devin Singletary, maybe? Or is that Hines? That was Naheem Hines in the backfield there. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely, Wendell. I agree. It was cool when he woke up and said, "Did we win?" And he said, "Yes, son, you've won the game of life." Pretty awesome. Back to pass on a big 3rd and 11. Allen rolling, and he'll throw back across the middle to Singletary, and he'll just get 3. And that'll be a 3 and out for the Bengals defense. Again, a little undermanned, specifically at the cornerback position, with no Awuzie, no Dax Hill, the rookie as well. Slot player from Michigan, of course. And so the punt coming from Sam Martin over the head and inside the 5, inside the 3. Nobody looks like it'll stop at maybe the 6-yard line. Nice punt there from Sam Martin. Hey, Rick, welcome in. Hello, and good morning to you. As we simulate this Bills and Bengals matchup, there's a look at Joey B, Joey Football. Number 9 in the black and the white jersey, having yet another fantastic year. There's the simulated stats in our sim. 35 touchdowns, 6 picks, 4,600 yards, pushing 5,000 yards for him. Burrow under center from his own 6-yard line. He'll turn around. He'll give it to Mo. Play action to Mixon. Watch out! And they're going to get home on the blitz. A.J. Klein, the linebacker, blitzed him right up the A-gap, gave no attention to Joe Mixon, and Mixon's got to do a better job. Look at that. They blitzed 2 linebackers right up the A-gap, and Joe Mixon has to do a better job of giving Burrow time to get rid of that football, and that is a very unorthodox way to start this game. A safety for the Bills defense, and that's why you want to punt them down inside that 5-10 yard line, because there's just so many good things that can happen for your defense. And again, that's why Kit and I talk about so many times Stefanski, amongst other coaches, like to go for it on 4th and goal inside that 3, 4, 5 yard line. That one's almost picked as Allen throws it kind of wobbly on the run. Shotgun look now. Back to pass. Allen, now he'll step up in the pocket and he'll just throw this one away. Good coverage by the Bengals defense, and we've got a 3rd and long. Not exactly sure, Wendell. It'll be sometime this afternoon. I know we have real NFL action up at like 4 and 8 today, so maybe like a 2 or 3, something like that. Maybe try to get it done before the real football games start. But I'll always announce it on the Discord first. You know that. And another 3 and out here for the Bills, so they cannot take advantage of that extra possession. They still lead this game 2-0. Just a minute and a half into the game. And another great punt for Martin at the 5, at the 3, at the 1, and it's going to be down at the 1-yard line. Holy smokes. 2 great punts for Sam Martin of the Buffalo Bills, and now Burrow and company at their own 1 after giving up a safety on the previous drive. He's going to throw again. He'll throw a quick slant right side. He's got Higgins, and he's got a first down. Breathing room. Oh, they're going to say inches short, but certainly some breathing room for Burrow and the Bengals. They'll go 5 wide now. Burrow back to pass. Pressure coming from Von Miller, who I think is not actually supposed to play in this game, but for some reason it didn't keep all of the depth chart changes that I made. And Von Miller with the second safety. 4-0. How many times do you see 4-0 in an NFL game? Wow. 4-0. And as you can see there on that ticker at the bottom from the Browns. Browns got that big win over the Redskins that we were able to keep Myles Garrett with his 7 sacks to tie the single game record set by Derek Thomas. We were able to keep it. But yes, wow, indeed, Wendell. 2 safeties. Credit the punter, Sam Martin, for pinning the Bengals deep twice. And then Zach Taylor, what are you doing? They haven't handed the ball off to Joe Mixon once yet. You've had 2 possessions inside your own 5. And now the running game will get a first down. Our first down of the game, and it's Devin Singletary who pushes through. That's very true, Mason. Now that we're all experienced sports bettors here in Ohio. Oh, there's the pick 6 throw. Allen can't do that one. And it's Trey Flowers, and he will waltz into the end zone. Waltz of the Flowers. If you are a Nutcracker fan, Trey Flowers into the end zone. And the pick 6 gets the Bengals right back into this game. That's that lazy late throw to the outside to Hines. You can see Flowers is like, oh, please throw this. Please throw this. Please throw this. And he's into the end zone, and we've got a 6-4 ball game right now. Morning and welcome in, Mason. And the kick from McPherson is up and good, so it's now 7-4. Yes, Wendell, it is a weird one to start, and we're 4 minutes into the game. It's 7-4 here. 2 safeties and a pick 6. So not quite what we would have been prescribed from 2 dominant offenses. Both a little sluggish to get going here. Still 11:05 to go in the first quarter. Phil Nagy on Sports joining you here today. Stretch it left side to the 3 tight end side with Singletary, and he'll pick up a nice gain of 4. So they found something with Singletary on the ground right now. Yeah, maybe it is the Mets Reds. Hey, George, welcome in. Go Browns. Good morning to you. Little pistol look with Gabe Davis in motion. They'll run it up again, middle again. This time Pratt and Wilson, the linebackers, are there to meet him, and it's a 3rd and 6. Toronto, Cincinnati. That's right. Buffalo is awfully close to Toronto, and he throws it, and it hits Cook in the hands. Or excuse me, that's Singletary, the running back. It hits him in the hands, and it's dropped. And a punt upcoming for the Bills. Again, I'm not really sure how we'll be able to get this to match up with the playoffs correctly, but we'll do our best as we try to run you the playoffs, even though we know the Browns won't be in it. You know, Nagy on Sports will try to bring you the playoffs, but without being able to declare, I don't think that there's a way in Madden that I can make this a no contest. I might be able to make it a tie, I guess, if I go back and run it later, as this one's going to be fumbled and then picked up by the lineman. Whew, dangerous play there. That was A.J. Epineza who got back there as Burrow fumbles, and then it's picked up by Jonah Williams, the left tackle, and the Bengals offensive line is in disarray here to start the game. Burrow again, 2nd and 26 now. He'll go deep, right side. He's got a man tipped and then almost picked. He knocked it out of bounds. Jordan Poyer, the longtime veteran safety and former Brown, able to swat that one away. Here comes Miller again. Little angle route to Tyler Boyd. They're just going to try to give their punter some room. They pick up a short gain of about 7, and then here is Kevin Huber. Doesn't have Drew Chrisman in the game. The rookie punter out of Ohio State not actually in the game. So It's Kevin Huber who got cut in camp for Chrisman in there. Yes, they are. Both defenses have started off very, very strong. We've yet to see either of these very, very special and dynamic quarterbacks make a play. Here's Allen. Now he'll move. Now he'll throw on the run left side. Little dump off to Nyheim Hines, and Hines will pick up 3. But look at that. 3 for 9 for 5 yards and a pick 6. That's not exactly what you would expect from Josh Allen. Now turn around, give the ball to Singletary. Left side, try to angle in his way past the 50-yard line. It sets up 3rd and 4. They'll spread them out 5 wide. Allen back to pass. Blitz coming late from the Bengals. He picks it apart wide open on the right side. Dawson Knox, the tight end, wide open, and a first down deep into Bengal territory there. That was a beautiful diagnosis. And he just found the guy who was wide open in the middle of the zone. Holy smokes, was he wide open. Von Bell way too late to get over there. And a big first down for the Bills inside the red zone for the first time in this game. Now back to pass Allen. Let's see if that gets him going. He'll roll. He'll step. He'll fire over the middle. Caught by the tight end. And that's the second tight end, Sweeney, I believe. And he's got a first down inside the 5-yard line to the 4. And hit as he throws. Good job by Hendrickson not to take him all the way to the ground. Good throw and catch gives him a 1st and goal now from the 5. Hey, Applied, welcome in. And yes, we're very, very relieved, and it is truly an answer to prayer. And incredible work from those doctors there in Cincinnati. So very, very excited to hear that. And I'm sure that was a big shot in the arm as they're going to rough the passer as well. DJ Reader, if they decline it, of course, it's a touchdown, which they will do. So we're setting up the touchdown throw and catch. And 11-7 now is the lead for the Buffalo Bills. So just like that, they drive right down the field. And again, that 3rd and long conversion to Dawson Knox from Josh Allen really sort of seems to have sparked some life into the Bills offense. But Applied, welcome in. Good to have you on. Yeah, Mason, I feel like we've definitely seen snippets of preview, like, oh, this is what it can be. But it would certainly be nice to put it together for a full 60 minutes, wouldn't it? I feel like the second half last week was pretty much like, oh, okay, this is how we can do. We'll be all right. But it would be nice for them to have a full half of that for sure. Yeah, I mean, Applied, I know that there's all kinds of crazy as there's finally a first down for the Bengals on a throw to Tyler Boyd. I know that there are some crazy various scenarios. One, I know the Bengals and Ravens could, flip a coin to see who hosts a game potentially. It just all depends on what happens today and tomorrow in the games. So it may not be a moot point. Yeah, I mean, they're not going to do anything to give the Browns the benefit of a doubt. How about that bailout throw on 2nd and short, and they're able to hit Tyler Boyd down the left side for a big first down, and now all of a sudden the offenses have warmed up. 11-7, and Joe Burrow driving down the field again. He's also in the zone. He's an X factor. I'm not sure what it is. Nice throw to Tyler Boyd inside the 15 to the 11, and now Burrow is cooking with gas, and the Bengals driving quickly. But it's only, it's like I said, it's very dependent on the outcomes. So I think that because they went no contest, the Bengals do automatically win the North. So they don't have to beat Baltimore tomorrow. And if they do, then I think it becomes a moot point. But if Baltimore beats them, then they could get to a coin toss for a home playoff game. It's like I said, there's all sorts of crazy scenarios based on who wins who, or who beats who. And again, the possibility of a neutral site if Buffalo has to host Kansas City or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of crazy things. Hayden Hurst for a touchdown, Bengals. And now we've got back-to-back touchdowns from each offense. And we're finally starting to get some of the fireworks that we were promised as a nice little out route. Tremaine Edmonds, the very, very talented middle linebacker for the Bills, beat in coverage there. Hayden Hurst got him into the end zone, and now here come the points. 14-11 here, and we're still in the first quarter of play. It's funny. I think what they should do is the NFL should log on to pnagsports, and whatever the result of our sim is today, they'll just pencil that in to the actual ledger. So if the Bengals win in the sim, they should just assume that the Bengals would have won because of our dedication to reality. Here's a stretch play to the right side with Singletary and a good tackle in space by Mike Hilton. I'd say Woozier. Why did it completely overrode every depth chart change that I made? So I do apologize about that. Woozier wasn't supposed to be playing, but neither was Von Miller. So I guess either team is still getting their getting some playmakers back, and it's sort of strength on strength. Left side, first down, got it. That's McKenzie. Isaiah McKenzie has really turned himself into a nice slot receiving weapon. Went from sort of kick returner specialist to slot receiving weapon. And a lot, I think, what maybe they had envisioned for Jakeem Grant before the injury. You know, that kick returner, but that speedy, shifty guy in the slot as well. What could have been if he had stayed healthy. Instead, he's probably almost seemingly done in Cleveland and probably escorts Prefer out the door with him. There's an 11-yard gain to the right side, and they'll move the chains again. Allen calm and collected in the pocket with a strike to the right side, and that's his big 6'4" receiver, Gabe Davis, who really, again, the hero of that Bills-Chiefs playoff game that literally changed the rules for playoff overtime because of how crazy that game was. But Gabe Davis, remember, had 4 touchdowns in that game, and it was part of the reason that Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley both were asked to go bye-bye because of the development of Gabe Davis as a wide receiver. High formation here on a 2nd and 1. Again, both offenses humming now. We've had back-to-back touchdowns. Play action, Allen firing off the back foot with some heat. Left side, Diggs, and a great play there by Mike Hilton in coverage. 2 seconds left in the first quarter. Back to pass, play action. Rolling, Allen in trouble, firing a bullet on the run, but to no one. And they will end up stalling out here, 4th and 1, and we'll have to flip it around, see what it looks like when they come back in the second quarter. Bengals leading 14-11 here, and they're going to try a 59-yarder from Tyler Bass. Dangerous here only because you're going to give Burrow great field position. This one does not look long enough, and it's also left. Terrible choice. Madden a little aggressive on the long field goal kicks recently, and that one's going to be a bad miss and a great turn of events for the Bengals with Joe Burrow in the zone to get the ball. By trade a DB, do you mean Newsome? Is that the DB that you're talking about? As we're going to get a flag on the play as Mixon catches a quick dump off and is pushed out of bounds, maybe holding. Oh, they're going to say they roughed Joe Burrow. Oh, Bills with another undisciplined play. That's Gregory Rousseau, second-year pass rusher out of the U. We definitely have running back depth. We definitely have right now some DB depth, but you're assuming that they're not going to re-sign Greedy, so that's a trade piece. Man, I just can't. It's hard for me to see them moving on from their last 2 top picks, like the first rounder, 2 years ago, and their top pick, which was the 3rd rounder this past year. It's really hard for me to see them doing that. As crazy as it seems, I think if they were going to try to move one of the DBs, it would be Ward, but I don't think that his contract is very tradable. Maybe like a guy like A.J. Green. I think that they want Ward and Newsome and MJ to be that core, at least until Newsome and MJ will need re-signed, which if they pick up Newsome's 5th-year option, that would be the same year that MJ and Newsome would be up. This is another first down throw inside the 10 to the 5. It's tight end Hayden Hurst, and Joey B has got the Bengals rolling right now. But same thing, like Kareem Hunt's not under contract, Dearness Johnson's not under contract, so unless they're going to trade like Felton or Ford, it's hard for me to see that they would do a sign and trade, like re-sign Dearness Johnson and then trade him, and they're certainly not going to trade Nick Chubb. So I guess to answer your question, No, I do not see them trading either of those pieces. I mean, the last couple of receiver drafts have been super deep. I think this one's going to be really deep again. I still just think that, and obviously Will Fuller didn't play anywhere all year, so his price tag perceivably comes down. And so maybe you reunite him with Watson, you see what he looks like, and you give him an incentive-laden, vet minimum kind of a deal. I just, as we've talked about before, I think they're going to give Anthony Schwartz every benefit of the doubt. He did start to make some plays here before his latest injury. He had a couple of those reverses that he took to the house. Like, you started to see the sparks there, and so if he and Watson can develop any kind of a chemistry, aka I can catch the ball when you throw it deep to me, I still think that they're going to give Schwartz the first right of refusal at that spot, just because his deal is so his contract is so manageable, and they own him for another 2 years. Like, I think they're going to give him every chance to be that burner that they want. Is this one's going to be a fumble? Nope, incomplete. So we'll see how it goes. David Bell, I think, is going to become a great NFL receiver, but he's not a burner. Cooper obviously is great and has some wheels, but that's not his primary gig. Donovan Peoples-Jones has turned into an elite deep ball receiver, but again, not a burner per se. You wonder if maybe Jakeem Grant comes back. Maybe they hold on to Jalen Darden. Those guys are more traditional burners. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. You can go a lot of different directions, and anybody outside of Cooper, DPJ, and Bell, probably have a murky future. Yeah, Rick, or somebody like McCole Hardman, who certainly, was going to be the next one up when Tyreek Hill left, and it just never worked out for him. And there's an option keeper for Allen to the right side of the 20 to the 15. Juke move, and he's down inside the 10, to the 15-yard line. Big first down for Josh Allen and the Bills as they try to get back in this game, down 10 now. No, he's not a burner. He's the possession receiver. Well, St. Brown wasn't in last year's draft. He was from 2 years ago. You're talking about Amon-Ra, the one from Detroit? Because he got drafted 2 years ago. And we're going to get a flag and a sack. Yeah, no, I think he is, Mason. He's, because of the guardrails, he's young, right? He's 21 years old when they drafted him, so they're gonna let that contract play out, and I think he'll be able to turn into a really reliable. He's got good size, 6'2", 6'3", and in the Schwartz draft, yes, you are right that St. Brown was in the Schwartz draft. And they probably did have an opportunity to take him, but again, they drafted on traits, an elite trait that you can't coach somebody to have 4.2 track speed. There's only so much training that you can do. So again, for better or for worse, they drafted an elite trait with the hopes that they could develop that trait. And so far, it's not unfair to say that hasn't been the case, and he hasn't been able to stay super healthy. And so yeah, obviously lots of questions, and anytime you have a season that doesn't go the way that you wanted it to go, which even if they win tomorrow and being 4-2 in the division is important, but 8-9 is not what they had in mind. Then again, if you go back and ask them, if you put the lie detector test on them, I don't think anybody in Berea thought that this suspension would be more than 6 games. I really don't. The general feeling in the league was 4 to 6. 6 would be aggressively punitive. And so I think they thought with Watson out, because then he would have had the 3 or 4 weeks of growing pains, right? So then it's maybe week 10 when he's humming at all cylinders. Week 10, week 11, something like that. So could you have mustered out 1 or 2 more wins if that was the case, and you'd be right in the playoffs? I think that you could. So again, we've talked about it many times. As soon as Goodell told Robinson to shove it, and that went to 11 games, it basically became a placeholder year. It was a placebo season where it was like, well, crap, everything that we thought and we assumed, we made an ASS out of ourselves, by assuming that the 6 games that everybody else in the league told us it would be, and even the independent arbitrator said 6 is the most aggressive that you can get based on your own CBA, and then the real judge and jury said, yeah, but that's not what I want. So it sucks that that's the reality of the situation, but it's just been a really really odd year because of that fact, you know. And I think Brissett did better than many people thought that he could, and the defensive lapses early in the season were just mind-boggling. So it's just, like I said, the whole season's just going to have this sort of, we operated under a lot of assumptions, and very few of those assumptions actually came true in terms of what to expect for the team. So all of that being said is when you have, it could be things like we saw this week with Clowney, where a player starts to think about themselves instead of the team and ultimately ends up quitting on his team 1 week ago. He's not going to play. And then different coaches getting thrown under the bus, and everybody's frustrated because, winning cures all, and they all expected to do more winning this year. So again, that's why for me, and I know Kit has been the same, and welcome on, Kit. Good morning to you. Hope you got a nice strong cup of coffee. But a nice throw to the left side is Burrow. It's just really smoking now. 16 of 17 for a $158, and that's another first down inside the 15. But, it is what it is. So it's again, to a man in Berea. They'll never come out and say this because that's not the kind of people that they are. But again, I think everybody was under the assumption that it would be a maximum of 6 games for Deshaun, and it would be a little bit of a hiccup to start the season. But everything changed, and so yeah, everything's up in the air. I think they'll keep the power structure in play for 1 more year. It would be silly for them to ruin it now. But yeah, you're right. If it doesn't go next year, then I would agree that Barry and Stefanski and those guys will start to be on the hot seat. But they're going to give a full off season. They're going to continue to tweak the roster. They're going to continue to build around Deshaun and try to do the best. That they can to continue to build around Deshaun and his skill set. And, there'll be some changes that we'll obviously see, and maybe some guys that go away that we don't want to, and some guys that we want to go away that won't. But that's the business of the NFL. I mean, the league is designed for everybody to go 500, and if we win tomorrow, we'll basically do what the league has designed us to do. So, I think that's not good enough, and I'm glad that we have expectations, and I'm glad that in Berea now they finally have some expectations. But, yeah, that's just where it's at. Big blitz coming from the Bengals, who had to settle for a field goal. Nice throw to Gabe Davis on the right side. So we'll get back to what we do doing what we do best, which is call simulated football games here. But I think JJ3 is maybe likely gone. Maybe a restructure for him. He would be a post June 1st cut, I believe, for financial reasons. Here comes Allen spinning out of a play action and into a open chunk of grass where there was nobody at. I mean, he's under contract, so I mean, unless they think they can trade him, which I'm not sure if they can. I think the potential's here. I think Delpit is really starting to turn into the player that we wanted him to, and so you'd like to have the two of them back there anchoring things. And then, yeah, you get a Ward, a Newsome, and MJ. Like, that's a powerful nickel. And maybe you go away from some of the heavy nickel that you've used in the past. Yeah, Mason, I'm a little bit upset with the commissioner as well. I mean, lots of people are for many reasons, but that one's just kind of like, why would you go through this entirely? As somebody who's in a profession that has a union, if we had spent hours and hours and months negotiating a bargaining agreement collectively, and then my bosses were basically, my district was like, oh yeah, I know what we talked about, but screw that. I would be pretty upset. Especially for the reasons, the court of public opinion pressures and those kinds of things. And like most things, as we talked about, time heals all. Very few people are even talking about Deshaun anymore. You know, there's always going to be idiot fans at opposing stadiums who have signs and stuff like that, you know, but first catch of the day for Jamar Chase, but it is a first down as the Bengals running quickly. All right, anyway, back to the game. Pressure coming. Burrow throws out of a sack. Stops the clock. They still have all 3 timeouts and all the momentum here with a 24-14 lead, which feels so normal, but the crazy part about it is that the Bills started 4-0 with back-to-back safeties to start this game. And then the Bengals had a pick 6, and it was 7-4, and since then it's been normal touchdowns and field goals. That's true. Kit brings up the biggest point. The biggest elephant in the room is whether or not you're bringing back Joe Woods and or part of that staff. And obviously, if you're bringing in a new coordinator, they're going to have their own ideas and scheme, and maybe a JJ3 doesn't work into their plans, or maybe the safety with a green dot doesn't work into their. You never know. But I do agree as he zips it right down the seam to Chase, a big strike. I do agree that I think JJ3 plays better when he has the green dot. He feels more just engaged in everything when he knows what's going on. Zip it to the right side, and he's going to be out of bounds. 3-yard gain, 2nd and 7 now. 45 seconds to go as the Bengals looking for a big strike. And I think they'll get the second half kick, yeah. So they're going to really potentially blow this thing wide open. Try to go a little slant to Chase, and he'll be ripped down in the midst of some white jerseys. Timeout called by Zach Taylor. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I felt like maybe Mike Zimmer was the most natural choice just based on his long relationship with Kevin. But I think he just became Deion's DC in Colorado. I know a lot of people have talked about maybe Jim Leonard, you know, with Wisconsin. He turned down the Packers DC job last year as an option. Right up the middle, touchdown, Tyler Boyd. The Bengals have been cooking with gas since the middle of that first quarter now. Big time to get that 2-touchdown lead heading into the break, and they will have the opportunity for the double dip. Excuse me, the 2.5-ish touchdown lead. And that kick is up, and that kick is good. Black screen of death there for Houday Nation. 31-14. Some real fireworks hopefully coming in the second half. Rick, I think that I think maybe the Walker question probably has to do similarly like JJ3 with who's coordinating the defense. I think if Joe Woods does stay again, he absolutely tries to keep a walk around. Yeah, I think the only thing about Fangio for me is he's a base 3-4 guy. Now, again, not that I think we would exist in base a lot, but I mean, Miles could do whatever because he's Miles. He could easily become a 3-4 end without much issue, and then could rush, you know, from the outside as needed. But whoever that other DE is, like, we don't really have, you know, that traditional 3-4 defensive end, unless you're talking about, you know, moving a Jordan Elliott out there or a Taven Bryan out there or something like that in a base 3-4. And then obviously you'd need a real nose. You'd have to go spend some money, either a draft pick or free agent on a real one-tech nose tackle. You know, similarly then, do you have the 2 middle linebackers to run that scheme? I don't think you put JOK in that role. He would still need to be, you know, an outside linebacker. So then are you looking at like a Jacob Phillips and an A-Walk in the middle? Do you keep Deion Jones, who didn't do as well when the Falcons went to a 3-4? So yeah, be interesting to see. or maybe Taki, as Taki fits a little bit more of that traditional 3-4 middle linebacker, a little bigger, as those outside guys are more freed up. So it'll be interesting to see. That would be a significant change. They haven't been a 3-4 team since what? Like a Romeo Crennel era, were they 3-4 back then? I don't think Pettin was a 3-4. Well, and yeah, I mean, I think the Rams are kind of a perfect example this year with how terrible they are. About, the nice throw again is, man, Burrow is just shredding the defense now, 27 of 32, 264. The Rams, the whole F them picks and just trade every draft pick and just go get high-priced free agents, and it did. They bought themselves a Super Bowl, they really did, but now they have no sustainable future. Their coach flirted with leaving last year. He's probably wishing that he might leave this year. So that's kind of the danger of do you go all in and sell the farm to win a Super Bowl? Kind of like Kit and I did that last year of our very first sim, where we basically gave away every draft pick and brought in Fletcher Cox and Cam Hayward and all these elite players to win ourselves a Super Bowl. But the team was really bad after that. And yes, Rick, I think a lot of people like Daron Payne, and he would be a more natural one tech in the middle there if you decided to go 3-4. It's just, do you spend, let's say, $12 million on a player like Daron Payne, or do you spend, $5 million on one and $6 million on one? You know what I mean? Do you spend that chunk of change on one player, or do you spend half the chunk of change on two players? Those kinds of things. These are the questions that you have to ask yourself. Split zone concept, mix in, and he'll be ripped down in the backfield. Good loss on the play from the Bills defense. The Bills really got to get a stop here. If they give up another touchdown, that may be curtains here. Mixon right up the middle, and we're going to find out because he's into the end zone with a touchdown. Bengals. Joseph Mixon, 37-14 now, and the Bengals pouring it on in a big, big way. Play 76-yard drive to start the half. How about that? That is an efficient double dip. They're good. And again, you can do a lot of good things, and that's what they're saying. I was listening to a Bengals beat writer on our local radio station in Columbus, and they've got to go for it this year because they're going to have to extend Burrow, and they're going to give him the money that he's worth, which is a crap ton, which means you're going to have to, there's a sack by B.J. Hill. Players like B.J. Hill, players like D.J. Reader, you're not going to be able to keep all of them. The ability to try to capitalize with a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal is one of the biggest and easiest ways to be successful in the NFL. Once you pay that quarterback, and even we're seeing with the Chiefs, they've been pretty good, but they've had to make some really tough decisions, and letting people like Tyreek Hill go. They've had to make some really tough decisions because they've, committed an arm and a leg to Patrick Mahomes. And again, I'm not saying that he's not worth it. He absolutely is worth it. But that's just the reality of the situation. The same thing, the Eagles are so good right now. It's because Jalen Hurts is playing on a third-round draft pick salary. He's making beans. So they can go out and sign Ndamukong Suh, and they can sign Linval Joseph, and they can, you know what I mean? They can be like, we have a hole here, go sign a high-priced free agent. We have a hole here, go, because they don't need to spend that money on Jalen Hurts yet. If they decide that he's the future and they're going to have to pay him, that would change things drastically. So while it hasn't quite kicked in this year, that's the reason that the Browns are continuing to maintain so much cap space, because next year when their high-priced franchise quarterback deal kicks in, they're not going to be totally cashless to sign other pieces. And that's where I think the most important part of Andrew Berry and his staff is he's so smart with the money and the contracts. And he does things that I didn't even think were possible, to be able to defer payments to later. And you do have to credit Jimmy Haslam for being willing to do that, because that means cash out of his pocket now. And a lot of the owners are not cash rich. They have lots of money and they have lots of value and wealth in their team, but like Mike Brown can't just stroke $100 million signing bonus checks. He just doesn't have that kind of liquid assets. So, you do have to credit Jimmy Haslam for being willing to stroke those checks. But that's just the reality of the situation. And again, one of the things I think that makes Andrew Berry so good is his management of the cap and his always looking at now, but always looking at the future as well. And I don't think you would ever see a situation where Andrew Berry would mortgage the entire future for one single year of success. It's just not how he's wired. Hey, I Love Football, welcome in. And yes, we will absolutely keep praying for tomorrow. We talked about him at the beginning, and people had wanted to have this game done, and we obviously understood why it didn't get played, but absolutely continuing to pray for him. But all good things sounds like they're happening down there, and the right steps are coming. And again, as a coach, and I didn't know if I don't know how many of the rest of you have ever coached youth sports, at least recently, but every 2 years you have to do certifications, CPR, those kinds of things, and one of them is training on sudden cardiac arrest, which is exactly what we saw. And the fact that they were able to start CPR so quickly and get an AED in there so quickly, those are like the first two things that you're taught when you start CPR. Just call 911, which obviously they had access to the squad, and get the AED. And like I said, kudos to everybody there who was able to respond quickly, as the Bengals will stop the Bills. They'll stall out, and Tyler Bass will drill one in. But yeah, knew exactly what it was. Again, unfortunately, and scary, and something that as a coach I hope I never have to witness from one of my players, but pretty wild stuff. All right, Bengals have been very good today. 38-17. We got 2:50 to go. Phil Nagy, Kit Nagy joining you here this morning. Kit is in the chat in the wee hours of the California sun. Today, a little fake of the pop pass. They go Mixon left side. He'll be stuck at the line by the rookie Kyer Elam. Appreciate everybody being on. Again, we will have the Browns game later this afternoon. Maybe I'll try to get that done in the 2 or 3 o'clock hour, something around there, so that I can get it done before the real NFL games today. But appreciate everybody being on. Thanks so much to our subscribers. You guys truly are the best. 38-17 now. A couple minutes left in the third quarter. Third and long. Burrow, short drag to the tight end, and Hurst can't quite break the tackle. Taron Johnson, the nickel corner, right there with him, and able to bring him to the ground. And a 4th and 5 and a punt coming for the Bengals. Fair catch called for and made by, looks like Stephon Diggs, returning the punt, try to get a little juice going. 38-17, McDermott and Allen. What could have been, right? McDermott was the recommended coach hire before Hugh Jackson, right? Should we go that far back? 38-17. Give it up the middle. Nope. Option keeper, and then it'll get stuffed in the backfield. Yes, Hugh. Thank you. I thought it was Hugh. And again, you can't see, who knows? We'll never be able to play that game. What would have happened, had they hired McDermott instead of Hugh Jackson? But I probably would venture a guess that it wouldn't have been 1-31. Back to pass. Allen, and he's sacked. Good play there by the Bengals defense, as they are hungry and swarming now, knowing that they needed to throw the football. They blitz the farm, and Akeem Davis-Gaither gets home. All right, end of the third quarter. Bengals lead big, 38-17. Do we have some fourth quarter fireworks? Caught out of bounds, 46-yard line. What is vaccine related, Pellegrin? The fact that we didn't hire Sean McDermott has to do with vaccines? I missed, or maybe you're responding to something else that I missed in the chat. Trips to the left side. Back to pass. Allen got his man over the middle. That's Knox, the tight end, and he'll fight his way near the first down before getting pushed down at the 45-yard line. Allen again on a 2nd and 1. He'll roll. He'll fire. Got his man again. Coming back to him is this tight end, Tommy Sweeney. Running back on either side. And now Hines on a little dump off over the middle for 3. Second and 7, they're setting up screen right side. It's going to be complete to Hines, but a good play by Logan Wilson, slicing his way through the blockers, getting himself back there. And now a 3rd and 3, and the Bills, they've got to score basically on every drive now if they have a chance. Allen, very quick little slant, and they've got it to McKenzie. Kudos to McKenzie for running a deep enough route there on 3rd and 3 to get the first down. And the Bills succeed the first down. Oh, for Hamlin they were talking about a back? Yeah. I thought they said he just had an undiagnosed case of AFib, which is irregular heart rhythm. It's an electronics thing, as they say, electrical signals thing in the heart, which I had a former student who had AFib. Oh no, Allen, he's going to throw a death blow, especially if he can take it to the barn, which he will. Another pick 6. That's how they start their scoring, and a little high stepping into the end zone. And that's the rookie Daxton Hill from Michigan. Again, I think he's supposed to be out of this game, but so is Von Miller, and he's playing as well. And that might be it. Good night, nurse, as the Bengals rolling now 45-17. The second pick 6 of the day for Josh Allen. Who they think going to beat them Bengals? Not Buffalo here today. And I would be surprised if Baltimore beats them tomorrow. I would be fine with Jerome Ford. I mean, I'm in the minority because I'm always so, and I think maybe because of Nagy on Sports, we're always looking to next season, right? Because we can start the next season in like a week, right? So I wouldn't be upset if they just sat Chubb the whole game, to be honest. I know they won't do that, but I wouldn't be upset. I would understand why they would do it, and just let Ford or Hunt run it all. You know, hey, make it an audition for Kareem. I can be the lead guy. Give him 25 carries tomorrow. See what happens. Maybe he'll go get a job somewhere. Gets paid enough. We get a compensatory pick for it or something. But I know that I'm in the minority. I know everybody wants to see Chubb play. He was, 30 yards away from beating somebody else's team record or something now, or maybe he passed. It was just last week that he passed. Nice run up the middle now. Mixon, big hole. Quietly 67 yards for Joe today. Yeah, I was going to say, I think he's like 150. He has to get like 150 yards more than Josh Jacobs does or something, doesn't he? If he actually is trying to win the rushing title. Left side, caught. Yeah, something like that. I mean, again, if he was 12 yards behind him or something, I absolutely can see it. Several bad things could happen. You know, if he tears an Achilles or his ACL or something tomorrow, then he's not going to be ready for the beginning of the season. So obviously I understand that every play in football there's a chance of an injury. But here's Mixon into the end zone. Ice, ice, baby. Mixon puts it on ice as this one is turned into a beatdown in the Queen City. Well, it's not even that it would be one thing if he was 160 yards just behind, but Josh Jacobs still has to, he's going to play today. So if Josh Jacobs gets 100 yards today against the Chiefs, doink right off the crossbar, that was cool, then Chubb will be 260 behind. You know what I mean? So it's not a realistically attainable thing, as fun as it would be. So you think he's 40 yards away, Rick? Yeah, I thought there was maybe something but that could have just been franchise record. Did he pass Leroy Kelly last week or something like that? Maybe for second or third all time in the team. I thought there was something significant. Yeah, no, for sure. Jacobs would have to pull a hammy at the beginning of the game or in warm-ups or something and just probably not play at all. And even at that, 160 is a lot. That's a lot. You'd have to really be intentional or hope he breaks a few. Plus, it's always tough to run against the Steelers. And you're not going to have Conklin. You're going to have Hudson. Now, Hudson's been really good at run blocking this year, but, he's going to have a full day, a full workman's day with T.J. Watt over there. Okay, Wendell, thank you. That was it. So I was just saying, I thought there was something about passing Leroy Kelly, and I think maybe that happened last week. So now, yeah, he needs another Nick Chubb season to pass Jim Brown next year, which would be awesome. Okay, so he gets PR with 53. Okay, all right. So there are reasons for him to play again. I would be totally fine with him not playing. I would be totally fine with their justifying not playing him as well. 53 passes for the Bills today, and they are just getting trounced. 3rd and 2, Allen, right side, caught. McKenzie. Well, this one certainly didn't go the way that maybe it would have gone in real life. There has been, I think since the beginning of our Sims, nice throw there, there has been, and again, I think he's up to the 9, I think he's maybe has been dev traded up to a 99 or a 98, but the Josh Allen, there's some baked in, some of that Baker Mayfield stuff where it's just they don't give Allen quite the credit that he's due in the game of Madden. Singletary has been struggling to get going today. 11 carries, just 26 yards. And yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Kit. I think we definitely saw some real glimpses of it that second half last week in particular. It would be nice to put a full 4 quarters together. Whew, dangerously, there were 5 Bengal jerseys and 1 Bills jersey that's incomplete for Josh Allen. Wendell, don't be silly. I hope Baker gets a chance to play somewhere next year, and maybe it'll be in LA. I mean, Stafford says he's coming back. I think it'll also have to do with whether Sean McVay is still the coach there. Excuse me. Because I think McVay was kind of the secret Mayfield guy, because they had a chat on a plane or something one day about offensive football. First and 10 now. Burrow in the zone. He's been in the zone for the better part of 2 quarters, and he has been fantastic here today. Tell me how excited I am to have to worry about Joe Burrow for another decade in the AFC North. At least it looks like Kenny Pickett is not Joe Montana yet. I guess we'll see in first person tomorrow. And obviously the Lamar drama in Baltimore. I still just can't see him staying there long term. I just hope they don't trade draft picks or something and end up with C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young or something. That would be sucky. Second and 9. Thankfully they are in true clock mode as he'll give it to Mixon again, who's going to be ripped down by Ed Oliver. Sets up a 3rd and 12. They don't have to snap it before the 2-minute warning. Let's see if they do. They will. And they'll throw. And Burrow will get sacked by Von Miller. I don't know if he wants to coach anymore, Kit. I think he wants to go to the booth. I think he wants like a Romo style gig. I think he's like done with coaching. I think he turned down like a really big deal to do the Amazon games or something last year. And they obviously did really well this year, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he goes to coach somewhere else or not. If he just became like a coaching free agent, that would be wild. Here's a little post route to Diggs, and I haven't really just seen much of Diggs. Allen, 58 pass attempts in this one just now, over 300 yards. Brandon Staley, I know there's a lot of people talking about Brandon Staley in LA with the Chargers maybe losing his job. That might be somebody I kick the tires on as a defensive coordinator as well, if he wants to get back into the ring. Dump it right side, and Hines runs away from the out of bounds line. Yeah, you're right, Mason. I bet you for sure they would have. Flip it to the right side. Nice defense. 62 pass attempts now for Josh Allen. 39 completions. Not exactly sure that's how we would have drawn it up, especially with a sprained AC joint. Right side, knocked out of bounds. 4th and 7 now. And they're going to kick a field goal. Why not? Tyler Bass for a 50-yarder here to make it 52-23. Bass's kick is up and missed it. And that was a stupid decision anyway, so I'm glad you missed it. I don't want to reward that stupid decision. 17 seconds left now. Bengals in victory formation, and the Bills mercifully will not call timeout, so that will do it. Bengals will get out of here with a big win. 52-20. Remember, this game started 4-0. 4-0 for the Buffalo Bills on 2 Joe Burrow sacks in the end zone. And since then, Bengals really, look at that scoring graph, just going up and up and up, blowing them out in pretty aggressive fashion. For Allen, 39 of 63 for 324, a touchdown and 2 picks. Didn't really run the ball well at all today. Hines, your leading catcher, just the dump-offs, 8 for 30, 8 for 74 for Knox. There's McKenzie, there's Diggs, Gabe Davis with both 5 catches as well. Defensively speaking, 11 tackles for Matt Milano, Edmonds with 9, 2.5 sacks for Von Miller, 1 for Klein and a half for Greg Rousseau. And Joe Burrow did not turn the football over today, despite being sacked a couple of times. He was 33 of 38 for 300 yards. That's 86%. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I would say that's about as good as it gets for Joe Burrow. 19 carries, 74 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Joe Mixon. Hayden Hurst with 11 for 76 and 2 of those touchdowns. Tyler Boyd was the big catcher today, 10 for 107 and a touchdown, 4 for Chase, 4 for Higgins. Lyle Collins gave up all 3 of the sacks. Logan Wilson, 20 tackles, 14 for Pratt, 10 for Jesse Bates. I've heard some low-key rumblings about maybe Jesse Bates to be the Browns' new free safety. I wouldn't hate that at all if they decided to move on from JJ3. Couple of picks, both of them pick 6s as well. All right, well, that will do it for this one. Appreciate everybody being on. Thanks, Kit, for popping on the chat here even bright and early for yourself. Again, not really sure how we will be able to play this, but for now, the Bengals do get the win, and we may have to come back to this point and do some other simulating of things, depending on, if we need to get different playoff matchups or whatever. So appreciate you being on. Again, join me a little bit later, probably in the 2 to 3 o'clock hour, something like that. Again, I'll always drop it on the Discord. If you want to join our Discord, you can use the link in the description of this video You'll always find out in advance of when we're going to sim, chat with us between sims, and live chat during Browns games themselves. So today the Bengals go to 12-4 officially, and will win the AFC North, as we already know. The Bills will fall to 12-4, and I think they're still fine to win the AFC East. But playoffs are just one more week away. So join me a little bit later for Kit on the left coast, Phil here in Central Ohio. We are Nagy on Sports. Have a great rest of your day, friends, as we wrap up Week 17 officially. We'll say go Bengals, and as always, go Browns!